Absolutely, Stephen. And I've got Enoch Godongwana. There's some moments interesting speaking to Matthew Parks from COSATU, and you would know that there's been a standoff between the unions and the government. And so that was quite a light-hearted moment between Enoch Godongwana and Matthew Parks from COSATU. But let's start off with how the markets have reacted today. They've been quite positive to the news. If you look at the rand, what is your initial reaction to this announcement?
My initial reaction is simply this: markets want policy certainty. Any political instability undermines that political certainty. To the extent that the President Ramaphosa has been re-elected, it does point to a direction where we're likely to have policy certainty in South Africa, and the reforms, structural reforms President Ramaphosa was implementing will continue.
Mr. Godongwana, another issue is, of course, which also became almost a divisive point at conference, the issue of Eskom and the load shedding issue. Some delegates were saying Ramaphosa must go because there's been load shedding, and you've put conditions to Eskom before assisting them. What are those conditions?
I've not published the conditions now because there's some work which is being done. In fact, you're putting the cart before the horse. And you're trying to say, I must tell you what I'm going to say on the 22nd of February. That's the aspect that we'll announce on the 22nd of February.
But what can South Africans look forward to?
South Africans must look forward to a couple of things. First, is that there's going to be emphasis on plant performance. Eskom's installed capacity at the moment is about 48,000 megawatts. We hardly get 26. Therefore, there needs to be an improvement in plant performance. Secondly, we've got to deal with criminals that are undermining Eskom's performance. And thirdly, we need to be aggressive on new capacity, including emergency procurement.
Mr. Godongwana, it's interesting that you're having that light-hearted moment with Matthew Parks, but from COSATU, but the unions themselves, the relationship between, the governments and the unions has been quite frayed. Is there a plan for this going forward? Because both at a political level, the fraternal relations have been strained as a result of the public sector wage issues.
Communists used the word dialectical relationship, because this part which the unions and ourselves share, in the sense that we are both members of the alliance. To that extent, we share a political program. But there's a contradictory process, in the sense that we become an employer and an employee. And that relationship, by its very nature, is characterized by contradictions and differences. And that's not something new. It needs just political management, which is mature.
Do you think with this new leadership, with Ramaphosa now coming back for a second term, there will be some better, interactions? I mean, we've heard that the SACP wants to go it alone in 2024. As a leader, not just finance minister, but also senior leader of this organization, what are the first steps that need to be taken to try and avert this, if that is what you want to do?
One of the things, I can't speak on behalf of the Communist Party if they want to go it alone. Is their own decision, guided by their own policies and their conferences. However, from our side, we would encourage cooperation and discussion. To the extent that, to my knowledge, there are discussions about different forms of conferences, one of which is an economic and an energy conference, which is being proposed. And I think if approved by conference, it's going to be one of the important steps in the right direction.
Just lastly from my side, Minister, it's quite clear that a cabinet reshuffle is on the cards, because Fikile Mbalula will be permanent at Luthuli House. And I'm not asking you to preempt what the president should do, but where are the areas, especially your portfolio is very critical, insofar as ensuring that things actually get done, because you dispense the money. Where are the areas that are critical that you think the president should be focusing on, and that you, as the Treasury and the face of Treasury, have been pushing for intervention?
When we tabled the medium-term budget policy statement, we made a couple of points. One of which was the the challenge we're facing with electricity, which undermines growth in this economy. The second thing is the logistic. Thirdly is infrastructure investment. Fourthly is crime. And fifthly is protecting the vulnerable. So we made those points, and in our view, that where the direction should go. As far as cabinet shuffle is, that's above my pay grade. But what I can say, there's definitely going to be a replacement of, there will be 2 vacant posts now, with Mbalula going into full-time into Lutuli. There will be no Minister for Transport. There's no Minister for Public Service and Administration. There's no Deputy Minister for...
Energy.
No, that one was replaced. Unobuhle is there. What has not been replaced is Flengwe Mkhize. So, without that manner, it will simply be a replacement. I can't say whether he's going to do a reshuffle, but those vacant posts exist.
All right, thank you very much. That's Enoch Godongwana. He's an ANC NEC member, but of course, taking this opportunity, Stephen, to speak to him in his capacity as finance minister, just getting a hint there in terms of the energy crisis and what South Africans can look forward to when he does actually, give an indication of his plans for Eskom, saying that plant management is going to be one of the key focus areas going forward. So, Stephen, South Africans, according to Godongwana, can look forward to that, and we'll see whether or not the issue of load shedding will still be used as a political football within the ANC and the newly elected NEC, which we know the voting will take place for later today. But that's our lot for now. But do stay tuned to Newzroom Afrika. We'll take a short breather, but when we return, we'll continue with our coverage then of the ANC's 55th National Conference.